if someone is looking for a therapist and you want to find someone who's able to be a good mentalizer,
Yeah.
but you have had inhibited mentalizing yourself, what would be tools someone would use to gauge if they found a good person? I mean, it's a tricky world.
It's a very tricky thing because we can easily get locked with a clinician who actually we're not really compatible with, and it simply plays out our difficulties.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? Just within therapy, so change doesn't happen. Wow. How do you avoid that? Well, ask someone else. Because someone else may have a much clearer picture. And that has to be someone else who you think, in your own mind at least, actually has a certain, you can trust in to some degree. It could be their position that gives you that trust to some level, but someone a little independent. Do you see what I mean? And they'll begin to at least direct you in the right direction.
Right. So have an anchor point that you trust
Yeah.
when you're questioning your own.
Yeah, if you're questioning your own capacities to judge something,
Yeah.
which is, absolutely right.
Yeah.
How do you judge therapists? Good one, bad one, and so on.
Right.
So that's the first thing, I think. The second thing, I think, is when you actually see someone, you do have to actually monitor your subjective experience of what's happening. Do you think you gel a little bit? Or do you think there's some experience of you feel comfortable at least? Do you get a sense that they know what they're doing? Do they seem to have a capacity to be clear about what they're doing and so on, and monitor those things quite carefully. For MBT, very often we will formulate and sort of agree our sort of plan, and then we may have sort of 3 months up to review and see
And you
where
do
we
that
are.
with the patient.
Yeah,
And you
absolutely.
say,
It's totally open.
Yeah.
It's done with the patient. It's all either written, drawn.
And is the
out and so on.
review, is there some sort of standardized thing that then obviously gets more specific to the person? Is that how you work with it?
Yeah, well, I mean, we tend to try to standardize a little bit. We've always been research-based as well, so monitoring the treatment is really important. So we tend to agree with the patient certain things. What are we monitoring here? Is it your level of self-harm? Is it your misery symptoms, and so on, and we can agree, why don't we use this, you do it every week or whatever, or every 2 weeks and so on. And at least we can have a look over 3 months where these go. Okay, so we focus it in there. It has to be something that you think is kind of meaningful to you, not just an imposed research instrument. I mean, we do in research obviously use specific instruments and so on, but in general clinical practice we can just use some which are well validated and reliable, but just agree those with you, because that's immediate and essential. So we can review that at the 3-month point, but we can also then take a position. Let's review our work that we've done then over these last 3 months. And that's what we call trying to generate a sort of Wiimote position. The two of us are now going to look at us, not you, but us, and the work we've done. And what was it like, and so on.
I like that because it just holds the you've created a structure or a system where the therapist is actively being held accountable.
Yeah. Now, MBT tries to have an equality in it.
Yeah.
So let's say we were measuring something and none of them have changed. It could be 60-40 my problem as the clinician. It could be 80-20 my problem. You see what I mean? It could be I'm simply not yet quite getting things right for you and things like that. But it cannot be the patient, is not behaving properly, it's their problem.
Right. And I guess the benefit of you being, it's partly research, is there is an opportunity for you to take a stance of constant exploration of your own work.
Absolutely.
And that it really, the clinical is the research also. So
Yes.
It's critical that you identify those things to actually improve what you're bringing into the world.
Yeah.
So that's,
Yeah. And the exploration is done sort of openly with the client, with the patient. So it's not sort of done
behind the scenes.
Yeah, behind the scenes in some way.